So let's skip the formalities and roll right into this breaking news headline that just came up. Ben Bishop is now an LA King. I mean, who really saw this coming? I understand that Steve Eiserman came out and said, "Oh, Ben Bishop has got the flu, and that's why he's not here today." And pretty much all of us thought, okay, Ben Bishop's getting traded today. So I think every team, fan of every team sort of thought, formulated their own opinions on to where not Jonathan Quick, oh my gosh, what am I saying? Where Ben Bishop was going to go, and it wound up being going with Jonathan Quick, and that just absolutely makes no sense. I don't think any LA Kings fan thought that was going to happen. I mean, I really think LA was probably at the bottom of my list, along with places like Chicago, who have stellar goaltending, and you really think, why would they need another goaltender? Because the thing is Ben Bishop's not a backup. He's definitely a starting goaltender. And as far as I know, I'm pretty sure the LA Kings already have a starting goaltender in Jonathan Quick, who made his, little sort of season debut-esque type game last night where he had a spectacular night with only one goal allowed. I mean, what more can you ask out of a guy who just, has been gone for pretty much the entire season, comes back and has a stellar game, you win, and you're back in playoff contention again when, most people probably think you don't deserve to be in a playoff spot. So with the Las Vegas team coming into play, we're going to have the draft lottery, and the rules of the draft lottery is that the new team picks players from current teams, so that way they are sort of playoff ready, and they are actual contenders right as they step in the league. And the rule is that every team can only protect one goaltender. And at this rate, LA happens to have two very good goaltenders, and they can only protect one of them. So who are they going to protect? Jonathan Quick and Ben Bishop are actually the same exact age, so in this scenario, it's not like you have the option to keep a younger guy over an older guy. However, in the circumstance, you do have the option to pick either a guy who has, more playoff experience or less playoff experience. I mean, no offense to Ben Bishop, but he just doesn't happen to have 2 Stanley Cups and a Conn Smythe. So, in this circumstance, it's kind of, I would almost think, a no-brainer to keep Jonathan Quick and sort of maybe use Ben Bishop as a pawn to get something else, which there's a lot of other teams that are looking for Ben Bishop, or looking for a goaltender and would be interested in Ben Bishop. So maybe he's sort of, excuse me, maybe he's like their pawn to try to get something out of somebody else for something that they want. Because I sort of thought about the fact maybe they would want to trade Jonathan Quick instead. Because possibly, if they protect Ben Bishop, then if he was going to be their choice to protect, then Jonathan Quick would probably just go to Vegas at the cost of nothing. Like, LA would get nothing in return for an elite goaltender. However, that doesn't make sense. I really don't think LA would do that. That would be such a stupid choice. So instead, one of these goaltenders is going to get traded. And the question really is, who's going to get traded then? So because I am an Arizona fan, I'm sort of just going to dwell on what I think that, how Arizona can be impacted on this. So I think, because I think Arizona really should trade for Ben Bishop, it would probably cost a lot to get him. However, what do I think would be the price? What I think I would be willing to give up is, although he probably really doesn't fit their style of play, I would give up Anthony Duclair, because literally every Arizona player and Arizona fan, I think, really despises him and realizes that he's just not really a good player right now, and it's super frustrating for the Roadrunners right now because they are absolutely struggling, and to have him there and he's supposed to be so great, this NHLer, and he's not doing anything. So I think we would have to give up a guy like Anthony Duclair, actually a good rookie, probably somebody like Perlini, and then probably a couple picks because, maybe like one or two, like a second-round pick or third-round pick this year and third-round pick next year. Something along those lines, though I do not think that Arizona would be willing to give those up, because all of, the future is in the young guys, and we have lots of young guys, but I just don't think we would be willing to give up the young guys that we have, because granted, yeah, we have a lot of good ones, but you just can't give them away. Like, they're just too important. I think there's some maybe you might be able to, let go, but the Coyotes are at some point going to have to fill their entire roster with these guys. At the rate it's going and how many young guys we're having, we're going to need as many as possible, honestly. Which I think is a whole problem in itself, and I see that a Martin Hanzal trade just went down, and I will be discussing that in a couple more minutes. So, I don't think either Ben Bishop or Jonathan Quick could go to Arizona, so this trade sort of doesn't impact them at all. It's just sort of something that's going on. But other teams, think about, are you a little more stacked than the Coyotes are? Chances are you probably are. And if you're looking for a goaltender, keep your eyes out for Ben Bishop, probably rolling on in to up on your doorstep, possibly, in the next few days. So, as more trades start to roll on in throughout the next couple days, I will be making, just sort of these quick little videos. So keep an eye out for those. I hope to be posting a lot of them, hoping for some really good blockbuster trades. And most important of all, good luck to you on trade deadline day. I hope your favorites do not get traded, and I hope you get some really good players on your team.